Oh, this should be a fun one. Here we go. My significant other at the time when Lou Holtz was at ESPN used to bring him up all the time. She would say, who is that funny little old guy with the little boy haircut that talks funny? Maybe she would say it a different way, but I'll keep it to those terms. I would say Lou Holtz. She would say, oh, yeah, he's funny. Yeah, he sure was funny. Great football coach. Amazing football coach during his tenure all over the place. But to listen to him, he only coached at Notre Dame. Welcome to the Voice of College Football. We break down the game we all love each and every day with you. Best discussion, debate, and analysis based on your engagement and participation. Lock it in right here. We usually stick to what's going on the field, but this was just too good to pass up, and I've had just way too much fun with this one. So I didn't find out till after the game that Ryan Day had words to say in response to Lou Holtz and what he had to say, because I don't watch these shows, and there's good reason. They're kind of mindless. But I caught wind of this one, of course, after the game, because this was the big talk other than what happened in the final play of the game in a tremendous football game. Let's understand that what Lou Holtz had to say about Notre Dame being a better team than Ohio State, you know what? He's not necessarily wrong. The best team doesn't always win the game. But considering the past histories of these two teams against each other, Notre Dame kind of needed to win this game to prove that they had exceeded Ohio State. And they, of course, didn't get the job done in the fourth quarter. So Ohio State won and won on the road 17-14. Okay, back to Lou Holtz. So again, he was spitting out nonsense, literally spitting out nonsense 15 years ago at ESPN. Never picked Notre Dame to lose a game. You really couldn't trust what he had to say. Despite all that football knowledge, you couldn't really trust what he had to say because it was so skewed toward Notre Dame. Even though he coached at North Carolina State and Minnesota and South Carolina and elsewhere. So he coached all over the place, but he most affiliates himself with Notre Dame. And I get that. He won a national championship and had his most success at Notre Dame. And of course, Ryan Day has yet to win a national championship, so he's an utter failure. As was pointed out to me on social media many times today, that Ryan Day has yet to win a national championship, and Lou Holtz won a national championship. So he knows how to win national championships. Well, it took him 16 years to win a national championship. Good Lord. Ryan Day's been around for 4 years at Ohio State, and he's done pretty well. He's 49-6. He's 44 years old, and he may never win a national championship. We'll find out. I don't know if he will or not. Just all sorts of ridiculous people. And Notre Dame fans, you are no dumber than anyone else. We love our Notre Dame fans. I hope that you enjoy the content here. I hope you enjoy the discussion. I hope that you know that you're welcome here. But a lot of Notre Dame fans over the last 6 months, we have had to tolerate a lot of nonsense from Notre Dame fans who don't really understand what's been going on in college football for the last 20, 25 years. There's no comparison between these two programs over the last 20 or 25 years. Notre Dame has had a better record than Ohio State once since 1993. Once! So there's no comparison between the two programs. We can go through wins, bowl wins, major bowl wins, national championships, playoff appearances, how well the two teams have played in the playoff, AP top 5 finishes, top 10 finishes, NFL draft selections, #1 draft selections, all of that. It's not close. Historically, all time, it's extremely close. Notre Dame, you should be proud of your history. Fans, you should be proud of your history. And no, it doesn't reflect poorly on you that your team has been down, that the program has been down from elite status the last 25 years. That's not your fault. It's not your problem. But don't make out Notre Dame to be something that it has not been for a long, long time. Now, are they on the verge? Do they have a really good team right now? Have they had really good teams under Brian Kelly? Yes. I've said this many times and had to point out and go back to the archives of videos that I produced just this summer to put some people straight on where I stood on Notre Dame competing in the Big Ten. They would compete favorably. I put them on the level of Penn State currently. I said that they've been a top 10 program in college football since Brian Kelly took over. Now we're just going to have to see Marcus Freeman. And I know Notre Dame fans are very optimistic and hopeful about Marcus Freeman and very impressed with him. I am as well. Although he's not proven anything, I'm optimistic as well. And just because Ohio State won the game doesn't mean that they are a better team right now. They've been a better team every year. They've been a better program for a long, 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 long time. That can't be debated in any way. Now, if you want to go all time, that's a great debate. If you want to go the last 20, 25, 30 years, it can't be debated. If you want to go right this second, right now, well, Ohio State won this game, so they got bragging rights, and their fans have bragging rights. But that doesn't mean definitely that Ohio State's a better team. This game went down to the last second, the last play. Notre Dame could turn out to be a better team, and so that's just the way it is. That's the way it is. But who's got the bragging rights? Well, Ryan Day does. Again, Lou Holtz is 86 years old. God bless him. He has accomplished so much in life. I know more good things about Lou Holtz than bad. I've heard some bad, but we'll not go there. We'll just stay with the record on the field. He's done a lot of good things for a lot of people. Excellent football coach. Again, I was always kind of a Lou Holtz fan. I don't want to call myself a fan really of any particular coach that I can think of, too many. But I liked Lou Holtz. I always liked him. I always liked just what he stood for and that he was an old line coach. But once he became a commentator, of course, he got to be a little ridiculous because he couldn't push his allegiances to the side to actually analyze football. And that, again, turned out to be an issue today. And again, root all you want, Lou Holtz, for Notre Dame. There's nothing wrong with that. Enjoy your retirement years rooting for the team that you are rooting for, but do not cite Ohio State on the losing end against Alabama, Georgia, and other teams in the playoff when Notre Dame can't even get to the playoff as many times as Ohio State, and Ohio State's efforts in the playoffs far exceed Notre Dame's. It's not even debatable close. He, of course, conveniently ignored last year's game. He conveniently ignored that Ohio State took Georgia down to the last play of the game. So he's evaluating performance, not just the score, physical style of play, how good the teams are. Well, Ohio State proved that they were one of the 2 or 3 best teams in the country last year. So I know they lost the game to Georgia, but let's evaluate performance on the field. Let's evaluate performance in Ryan Day's first playoff against Clemson. That game was, hey, we sat here and rewatched that 2019 playoff game with a bunch of Clemson fans, and they admitted, hey, we got outplayed. Yeah, Ryan Day's teams have shown up and performed extremely well in the playoff. Any moron that brings up 1 and 3 understand the performance behind the one. It's 4 freaking games, and they were playing the best team in the country. And they wiped out Clemson once by 3 touchdowns. And the other game was a toss-up. The Georgia game, toss-up. Bama took them to the woodshed, no doubt, in the second half. But even that Ohio State team competed against Alabama better than that Notre Dame team. And again, that's not debatable if you watched the games, didn't just look at the scoreboard. So again, Notre Dame might be better this season, but, you know, Lou Holtz said that Sam Hartman would just go unscathed and pick them apart and have a field day. Well, he had his worst stats performance since 2020. Less than 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. They only scored 14 points. So, and some people said, oh, well, Ryan Day should ignore that. You know what? My response to Ryan Day's response would be, yeah, he could have been the bigger man, just completely ignored it. But he was fired up. He's got a lot of pent-up emotion after hearing that crap. So he decided to respond. I've got no issue either way. I think that a lot of guys would be the bigger man and would just ignore that and not respond to it and let it go. But you know what? In this day and age of social media scrutiny, and obviously opposing fans are always going to pick out, you know, they're going to talk about Ryan Day's beard. They're going to talk about stupid things that don't matter. Obviously, we can all pick on, you know, Jim Harbaugh's aloof and make stupid responses. And you know, the stuff that comes out of his mouth half the time makes no sense. You know, we can pick on anybody. That's easy to do. But in terms of being 49-6, and he chose to respond. He chose to respond. He got fired up. He would get criticized for being too even keeled, too emotionless on the sideline. Now he gets criticized for being too fired up. Yeah. So critics are going to be critics, and haters, if you go with that term right there. So it gave us all something to talk about. Lou Holtz, hey, we love you, Lou. You seem like a good guy. I can't vouch for you personally. I've never met you personally. What's funny about that is I worked in the same building every Saturday with the guy for like probably 19 years. But never, I had tons of people that reported to me that met Lou Holtz and took pictures with him and everything, but I never bothered to walk 100 feet down to a studio and shake hands with Lou Holtz. Not because I disrespected the guy, but that stuff just doesn't matter to me. All right, so just interesting stuff. Also saw just crazy stuff on social media, like Ryan Day was on a hot seat. Ryan Day's not on the hot seat. Now, he could coach himself onto a hot seat just like anybody else could. Just crazy stuff out there. So, again, Notre Dame fans, some very classy, very knowledgeable, smart, all those sorts of things, just like Ohio State fans, just like Michigan fans. I will say it consistently, there is no fan base that is all delusional, all stupid, all irrational, all obnoxious, all anything. Every fan base has your knowledgeable fans, your smart fans, your wise fans, your classy fans, and then your obnoxious fans, your delusional fans, your irate fans, all that. They're all mixed up in every fan base. Every fan base. But, of course, because of taking a bitter pill of a loss, and that was a tough loss. Notre Dame should have won the game. Should have managed the clock and won the game. We'll talk about that in another video, possibly. So Notre Dame should have won the game. I understand the fans being upset. They haven't won a big game against an elite team in a long time. So they were looking to break through, and they thought they had it. And, hey, they should have closed the deal. So I get it. But, you know, I just couldn't tolerate all. It has been going on endlessly since the end of last season, how some Notre Dame fans were guaranteeing. How you do that, I don't know. That's the most idiotic response to a football game, that you guarantee that the team's going to beat another team, especially when that other team's been the better program for 25 or 30 years. That's the most inane, idiotic thing to do. But you don't pay a price for it. It's not like anyone can hold you accountable. It's like NFL players that guarantee wins. If I'm the head coach, I'm going to say, you know what? You guarantee a win? Oh, we're going to suspend your paycheck until we win the game. If we don't win the game, well, you guaranteed it, so we're going to withhold your pay. But if only we could hold everyone accountable like that. And those guys don't even get held accountable. All right. Just wanted to go on about Lou Holtz and Ryan Day. If there's anything I'm missing in all of this, please leave it down below. I have respect to a certain degree for both of these guys. They're tremendous football coaches. Of course, Ryan Day probably has a lot to accomplish. Of course, Lou Holtz, it's all behind him at this point. So leave your comments down below. It's a fun discussion, fun debate, a lot of craziness out there on social media. And like every 100th comment, somebody makes some valid, good point, but most of it's a bunch of nonsense. All right, appreciate you being here at the Voice of College Football. We will see you next time.